And the winner of the Stanley Cup is the St. Louis Blues. Yes, for the first time in franchise history, the curse will be lifted, just like it was for Washington last season. Alex Pietrangelo will raise the Stanley Cup. Braden Shen will win the Conn Smythe. He's an excellent clutch performer. I think that St. Louis has the tools it needs to make a deep run and ultimately capture their franchise's first championship. So, I called it. Yep, that's right. The Blues are the 2019 Stanley Cup champions, and I'm very happy to see a new Stanley Cup champion be crowned. After the Washington Capitals did it last year, I thought to myself, hey, I think the Blues have a chance of doing this. I love that Ryan O'Reilly acquisition, and I thought that was going to definitely propel them to Cup contention for sure. However, I mean, you look at it this way. Think about the Tampa Bay Lightning, 62 wins, swept in the first round. How often do you get a season where something like that happens, and then the team that is midway through the season, arguably the worst team in the NHL, rises above, gets into the playoffs, and makes an unbelievably historic run at capturing their first Stanley Cup? I'm seeing Tarasenko shaking hands with Zdeno Chara. There are some fantastic players and good sportsmen here shaking hands. And man, what a sight to behold this is in St. Louis, I bet. I mean, they lost their football team a couple of years ago. The Cardinals haven't been quite as good in the last couple of years, so it was high time that they saw their St. Louis Blues finally win a championship for St. Louis. So this is fantastic. I'm looking at Alex Pietrangelo. You look at Alex Steen, Vlad Tarasenko, Braden Shen, Parayko. Basically, that core of players stayed intact despite their struggles. You know, we thought that one of those guys or a couple of those guys would have been traded at the, just a few months into the season. So for the Blues to stand pat, Doug Armstrong deserves a lot of credit, and Craig Berube and the addition of Jordan Binnington, obviously, that really lit a fire for this team. Jordan Binnington tonight, unbelievable. Just unreal. I mean, it's pretty common in the playoffs that you'll see a goaltender have a performance that's spectacular, that's something you're not going to see, you know, game in, game out in the regular season. But for it to come from a guy who, I mean, did anybody know who Jordan Binnington was before this season began? And now I'm seeing the Bruins saluting their fans here, and I know that it's hard for them to keep their heads held high, but I mean, a terrific year from them nonetheless. But yeah, this night belongs to the St. Louis Blues, and we're going to see probably a celebration similar to what we saw with the Capitals last year. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what that looks like. At the beginning of the season, when I made this prediction, I said Braden Shen would win the Conn Smythe. Nonetheless, even though he was kind of, you know, he had kind of a slow start in the playoffs, he started to get on the score sheet, and then he scored the third goal in this game in the third period to really seal the deal. So Braden Shen, I think he's somebody who's usually pretty under the radar, but obviously he came up big when he was needed. There's Pietrangelo being interviewed right now. You know, this guy's been captain of the team for a number of years, and so I'm sure that, you know, there was some extra weight on his shoulders to propel his team to a Stanley Cup victory. Vlad Tarasenko, who, you know, he was subject to trade rumors, and, you know, even starting in the playoffs this year, he was slow, and then he got going, especially in the conference finals, and he makes a great play to set up, I think, Shen on that third goal. You look at the goal that they got, God, with 7 seconds left in the period. This is unbelievable. So you look at some of the great stories that are very St. Louis based too, like Patrick Maroon, who grew up in the area and who actually, you know, played against who played against Ben Bishop from St. Louis as well. That was a great series. Layla Anderson, somebody who has a condition that's so severe that she can't go outside and, you know, just interact with the world in a way that kids do. Unbelievable, and she was here in Boston enjoying it. I just can't imagine the elation that she's experiencing right now. So, I mean, this is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I'm very excited for the Blues to be, you know, bringing the cup home to St. Louis. As a Sharks fan, I'm waiting for our chance where we finally bring home Lord Stanley's Cup, and there are a couple other fan bases out there that are waiting for something like this. So I hope that if you're a fan of the Sharks or of the Canucks or the you know, the Buffalo Sabres, you can kind of find solace in this, in that, you know, somebody finally got theirs, you know, a team that's been around for a long time. Anyway, I'm excited to see who wins the Conn Smythe. I'm sure it's going to be Binnington, if not O'Reilly. What a great acquisition he was. And I've got some pizza bagels coming out of the oven here, so before they burn, I gotta sign off. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I produce weekly hockey content on my channel here, Twisted Wrister Hockey. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up and hit that big red subscribe button if you haven't already. Stay tuned for more Twisted Wrister content in the off-season. This has been Nick, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Congrats to the Blues. Bruins, hey, good job for you guys too. And yeah, it's been a great 2018-2019 season of hockey. Cheers, guys.